All right, let's dive in. Today, we're talking about a really big idea, something that's changing the game in data architecture, the streaming data mesh. Now, if you've ever had that feeling, you know the one, where your company is just drowning in data, but you can't seem to get any real insights out of it, yeah, this one's for you. And we really have to kick things off with this quote from Gwen Shapiro because it just hits the nail on the head. It frames this whole conversation perfectly. For years, right, we've been throwing technology at our data problems, bigger servers, faster processing. But the real issue, the thing that's been holding us back, has never really been about the tech. It's always been about people. It's an organization problem. I mean, this is a reality for pretty much everyone, isn't it? Your company's data is growing. Every single click, every purchase, every little interaction, it's all creating more data. The amount is just exploding. And look, that should be an incredible asset, right? But
And here's the big but. Your teams are moving slowly. It's this crazy paradox. You've got mountains of data piling up, but the people who actually need it, your marketing teams, product managers, analysts, they feel like they've hit a wall. Getting an answer to what seems like a simple question can take weeks. It's a huge drag on everything. So what's going on here?
well, this image really gets to the heart of it. There's this massive divide. Over on one side, you've got your operational plane. These are the live databases that are actually running your business day to day. Then, way over on the other side, you have the analytical plane, your data warehouses, your data lakes, where all the brilliant insights are supposed to happen. And that little pipeline trying to connect them, it's usually a bottleneck. It's slow, it's fragile, and it's almost always managed by one central data team that is completely and totally overwhelmed. So the big question is, how do we fix this? How do we bridge that gap? Well, what's really fascinating is that the answer doesn't come from some brand new fancy database. Nope. It comes from a lesson we learned a while back in a totally different area, software engineering. We're talking about the microservices revolution. Just think back to how we used to build software. We had these huge, clunky applications called monoliths. Everything was bundled together in one massive code base. If you wanted to change one tiny little thing, it was a nightmare. Super risky, super slow. The whole system was brittle. And then came microservices. The idea was simple but revolutionary. Break that giant monolith apart into a bunch of small, independent services. Each one could be updated and scaled all on its own. And wow, did that unlock a ton of speed and agility. So that brings us to the big what if. What if we could take that exact same idea and apply it to our data? And that, my friends, is where the data mesh comes in. This isn't just a small tweak. It's a completely different way of thinking about how we manage and use data, especially at a large scale. Now, take a look at this. It probably looks pretty familiar, right? It's almost the exact same pattern we saw with microservices. We're taking that core principle of breaking things down, decentralization, and we're applying it to that big, centralized, monolithic data lake. We're smashing the monolith. So at its core, a data mesh breaks up that central data lake into a whole network of independent data products. And it's so important to get this part. A data mesh isn't just a new tool you can buy. It's a different way of thinking. It's what you'd call a socio-technical shift. It's about organizing your data around your business, not the other way around. Okay, so how does this actually work? Well, this whole idea is built on a foundation of 4 core principles. If you can get your head around these 4 ideas, you'll really understand what makes the data mesh so powerful. So let's walk through them. First up, and you could argue this is the most important one of all, is domain ownership. So what does that mean? It's simple, really. The team that manages the shipping system, they own the shipping data. The team that runs marketing campaigns, they own the campaign data. You're pushing the responsibility out from that one central team and giving it to the people who are closest to the data, the ones who are the real experts. And why does this work? Because they get it. They understand the context, all the little quirks. They know that data inside and out. Okay, so if these teams now own their data, that leads us directly to the second principle, which is a huge mindset shift: data as a product. This means that data is no longer just the exhaust fumes of an application. It's not just some byproduct. No, you have to treat it like a first-class product that you're delivering to your customers, who, in this case, are other teams inside the company. And what do good products have? They're trustworthy, they're easy to find, they're well-documented, they're reliable. You have to start thinking about your data in exactly the same way. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. Hold on a second. You want my shipping engineers to suddenly become data pipeline experts? And that is a totally fair question, which brings us to pillar number 3. It's the self-service data platform. Think of this as the great enabler. The job of a central platform team shifts.
They're no longer the gatekeepers. They're the tool builders. They provide the infrastructure, the easy buttons for all the complicated stuff, storage, security, processing, so that the domain teams can easily build, share, and manage their own data products without needing a PhD in data engineering. It makes it possible for everyone to play.
All right, last but not least, with all these teams doing their own thing, how do you stop the whole system from turning into the Wild West? Complete chaos. Well, that's where the fourth and final pillar comes in. It's called Federated Computational Data Governance. And I know that sounds super complicated, but the idea is actually pretty straightforward. This isn't about some top-down committee making rules nobody follows. It's about getting everyone together to agree on the rules of the road for the whole mesh. Things like how are we going to handle security, or what data formats will we use so our products can talk to each other. And the really cool part is these rules are then built right into the self-service platform and automated. It keeps everything secure and working together without slowing anybody down. So let's just do a super quick recap of those 4 pillars. You've got domain ownership, which puts the experts in control of their own data. Then there's data as a product, which forces everyone to think about quality and the user experience. You enable all of that with a self-service platform, giving teams the tools they need. And finally, you hold it all together with federated governance, the common set of rules that ensures it's a cohesive system, not chaos. Okay, so that's the what and the how. That's the blueprint. But let's talk about the why. What's the actual payoff here? Why should you and your organization even care about this stuff? Well, the payoff is huge, and it goes right back to the problems we talked about at the very beginning. Remember those teams feeling stuck? Now they're empowered. That waiting around for weeks, gone. You get real speed and agility because you've removed that central bottleneck. And trust in the data goes through the roof because you know it's coming from the people who understand it best. You're not just moving faster, you're unlocking brand new insights because teams can finally connect the dots in ways they never could before.
At the end of the day, here's the most important thing to remember. A data mesh is not just a technology project. It's an organizational and cultural shift. It's really about making your data architecture reflect the way your business already works, as a network of agile, decentralized teams, all working toward a common goal.
So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. When you look at your own company, is your data architecture a bottleneck? Is it a maze of dead ends and traffic jams that slows everyone down? Or is it a superhighway, fueling innovation and accelerating your business forward? Thinking about that answer might just show you why the data mesh is such a powerful idea. Thanks for tuning in.